Hey guys, we are still on this haunted binge. I don't know if I'm going to release all of these at once because that's a lot, but there's going to be like six of them, or like maybe just five. Um, this one is called Spirit from Below. Now, the way I have it on my paper, I'm not sure if this is episode 4, because I watched the another one, the one about war last, and I know that's in here. So the order might be mixed up as far as that, but this is called Spirits from Below. So this one is based off of the woman telling the story. Her family is from the Philippines, and the father was a cop in the Philippines for 20 years, and he helped take down this very notorious gang, and to the point where he had got a hit. There was a hit taken out on him. So to protect him and his family, they moved to America, and he got them a house or whatnot, and was working like 3 jobs. And the lady who was telling the story, all this is happening. She's a young girl when it starts. So from there, they moved to this new house, and she said it was just something about this house she didn't like. And then she saw like something in the shadows one time, and she was scared when she was sitting watching television with her mom. And her mom was like, if you don't look at it, if you just ignore it. So she was like, for one, that scared the shit out of me because that shows that I'm not crazy. And for two, my mother had seen it too. And she was saying that in the Filipino religion, or what in their religion or whatnot, they believe in spirits and all that. They just don't talk about it, and they don't even discuss it in any kind of way because they believe that that gives it energy. And if you act like it's not there, then it'll go away or whatever. So that's pretty much what their ideology is when it comes to those sorts of things. Just act like it don't exist and it'll go away, or it won't bother you. But this was not the case. So the thing is, this whole family, turns out, had different accounts or different ways that they experienced this entity. But since they were ignoring it and no one was speaking about it, no one actually knew about it, that everybody else was experiencing something, because they didn't discuss those types of things in their household. So the little girl, she was saying that, she was playing by herself, and she just always was. She was, I think, the youngest or second youngest or at the time. And she said that she always felt so lonely, even though she had her siblings, and they were like, oh, we just never knew you felt that way. And it's like this. So there's a lot of communication issues with this family. But anyway, I digress. Excuse me. So she was so lonely, and one day she was playing in her room by herself, and then this little girl appears to her, and they were playing or whatnot, and we know this girl is a ghost or whatever. And then all of a sudden, everything's going cool with this little new imaginary friend or whatever she thought that she was. Excuse me. At the time, all of a sudden, this girl starts throwing stuff in her room, just knocking shit down, breaking, throwing rocks at the window, broke the window, and then set one of her dolls on fire. So from there, they house half the fucking house, or some part of the house burned down. Everybody survived and was okay, and I guess they continued to live in the house right after that, because she never said anything about them moving out at all. So from there, she was like, it just feels like that particular ghost was attached to her, and it was always with her, and she just grew up. She had a really difficult time growing up because she just always felt so, everything was just always so dark, and she just had this darkness with her. But whenever she was out of the house, she felt fine. But when she was in the house is always telling her bad things and telling her to do bad things and all this stuff. And then one day when she was a teenager, I guess the girl told her to kill herself, and then she slit her wrists, and then she almost died, and she was gone for several weeks. In the hospital. And then the younger brother was like, yeah, I remember that happening, but I guess they didn't really tell the siblings what she did. They just said that she was in the hospital and she just needed to go away for a while. And she was like, I felt great when I wasn't there. She's like, when I got better and everything, but then I dreaded going back to the house. I wouldn't have went back to that motherfucking house. But anyway, from there, the brother tells a story of how he sees this little girl, and she takes his ball and then he runs after her, and then the ball goes into like this little pond or little thing of water, and then he goes trying to get the ball, and then all of a sudden the ghost pushes his head down and he almost drowns. And he said from that moment he's always been afraid of water. So from there, the girl, she grows up, she grown now. Well, she wasn't grown, she's like 16. And she meets her boyfriend. And then from there, there's another unnecessary sex scene, especially if they talking about this 2 16-year-olds, whatever. She gets with her boyfriend and then she gets pregnant. They have a child, and then he moves into the house. And she was like, she just increasingly, she's like, for a while she was cool. Once she had her baby, she was all right for a while, but then out of nowhere the darkness came back and she started feeling so much anger towards him. And the girl came back and the spirits were telling her to do bad things and whatnot. Oh, and I think originally it wasn't just the little girl that she saw, but it was mostly the little girl, and then there was like a man and an older woman or some shit, that I think other people saw too. Um, so she was just angry, and then she just like kept having like horrible feelings towards her spouse. And one day they was chilling in the room, and then she took a big ass like dumbbell thing and what, knocked his ass, cracked his head ass over the head. And then he was real cool about it because I'm like, bitch, what? And she was like, you could, and then her sister like, you could have killed him. Like, yes, brain damage. Maybe he did have some brain damage because he seemed real cool about it. I'm like, you should have, whatever. But then he was like, from there, they just, they had to get out of that. They had a child, and then the child was it their child? Yeah, I think it was their child. At this point, they had a child, but when she hit him, I could think that was the last straw, and then they left. But they had a child. The child was, I don't know what age, and she was like, they were showing her how she was seeing a little boy, and then she was like, back then, I guess the other kids, I don't know what other kids there, they had this boy with the red boy or the red boy or something, and then she told a story about how they were playing like patty cake or something, and he was telling her to come, and they were walking across a ledge, and then it got to the point where they're right on the edge of the ledge, and then he jumped, he fell off, and then he was telling her to jump off too, and then she didn't. She just stood there, and then he appeared again next to her, but he was covered in blood, and she was like, I realized why we called him the red boy, because he was always covered in blood. So, but anyway, from there, she knocked the mama, whatever, knocked the husband over the head with a thing, and then there's like, we got to get out of here because the thing is trying to like harm us and you. And she's like, she always felt so angry and so much evil from that house. And other people said that they experienced stuff in different ways or whatnot, but it was mostly focusing on her and her husband and her and whatever. So yeah, y'all. She said the last time she visited the house, because they kept the house, because at the beginning of the episode she was like, we just sold the house finally. Like, how did y'all have that house this whole fucking time? But I guess maybe because the mom stayed. I don't know what happened to the father. She didn't mention her father, so I assume he died years prior. She was like, yeah, she had just the last time she visited the house, her mother had been suffering from dementia or something, and she was very ill, and she was about to pass, and she came to see her mother one last time. And then her mother told her and was talking to her in Tagalog, their native language. And then she was saying that, what did she say? They want you here, or they want you, whatever. Said something like, "Oh, they want you here, or they want you, or something, or them." And she's like, "Who?" And then she was like, she asked her mother, "Or are they from above, or are they from below?" And then she said in Tagalog, she said they're from below. And then I guess her mama died shortly after that. And then she was like, from there, we had the house, and it was in their family, but they finally sold it, and they were just saying how like there was so much evil in that house or whatnot. And yeah, that's the story of that. And she was just, yeah, that was her recounting of the horrible house she lived in. And she was like, after that, her life was completely normal and she lived a good life and had her family. Everything was gravy after that. So that was Spirits from Below, and I will see y'all for the next two. Peace.